Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote these classic children's books, allowing millions of readers to live the westward expansion period of American history. They were such a significant contribution to American children's literature that in 1954, the American Library Association created the Laura Ingalls Wilder Award for lasting achievement in children's literature. They named Mrs. Wilder as the first recipient. Laura did not create the characters, places, and events in these books. She knew them and lived them. In the Little House books, she told the story of her life. She wrote them so that children would know what life was like as she was growing up. Laura Ingalls Wilder was born on February 7, 1867, near the town of PEPIN, Wisconsin, as she described in her first book, Little House in the Big Woods. She lived there with her ma, pa, and sister Mary, who was born in 1865. The Ingalls moved many times across the Midwest through Laura's childhood. She simplified the narrative of her books by skipping over a few of their moves. When Laura was still a baby, the Ingalls moved to the Keytesville, Missouri area for about a year. Next, they established a homestead near Independence, Kansas, in 1869, as described in Little House on the Prairie. Laura's sister Carrie was born in Kansas in 1870. The Ingalls family then returned to their home in the big woods of Wisconsin and stayed there for another 3 years. In 1874, Pa and Ma decided to strike out again, this time to Minnesota. They settled on a farm near the town of Walnut Grove. Laura described this chapter of her childhood in On the Banks of Plum Creek. Laura's little brother Freddie was born in 1875 and died at 9 months old. The Ingalls faced many hardships on their Plum Creek farm, including plagues of grasshoppers that destroyed their crops. Faced with debt, the Ingalls sold their farm in 1876 and moved to Burr Oak, Iowa to help friends run a hotel. Laura's youngest sister Grace was born there in 1877. In 1878, the Ingalls family returned to Walnut Grove. Laura's sister Mary lost her sight there after an illness in 1879. The Ingalls family moved to Dakota Territory in 1879. They chose a homestead near the town site of DeSmet. Laura described her coming-of-age years in DeSmet in By the Shores of Silver Lake, The Long Winter, and Little Town on the Prairie. Another local farmer, Ingalls Wilder, courted Laura and they married in 1885, as described in These Happy Golden Years. Their daughter Rose was born in 1886. They also had a baby boy who died as an infant in 1889. Laura wrote Farmer Boy about Ingalls' childhood in New York State. Ingalls, Laura, and Rose spent brief periods in Minnesota and Florida before returning to DeSmet. In 1894, Laura and Ingalls bought a farm in Mansfield, Missouri, which they named Rocky Ridge. They lived there happily for the rest of their lives. In her 50s, Laura began to write down her childhood memories. Rose was by then a famous writer and encouraged her mother to write. Laura's first book, Little House in the Big Woods, was published in 1932 when she was 65. The rest of the series followed quickly, concluding with These Happy Golden Years in 1943. The last book in the Little House series, the first 4 years, was found in draft form after Laura's death and published in 1971. Ingalls died in 1949. Laura lived alone at Rocky Ridge until she died in 1957 at the age of 90. Laura wrote to young fans of her books. The Little House books are stories of long ago, but the real things haven't changed. It is still best to be honest and truthful, to make the most of what we have, to be happy with simple pleasures, and to be cheerful and have courage when things go wrong.